Commissioner, good to see you again. I hope things are going well. Let's start with it. How are you and your constituents doing right now after the storm?
I'm lucky. I didn't lose power at my house, but about 900,000 buildings, homes and buildings lost power in Houston. So I've been out helping other people. And, it's in different parts of this county, 5 million people. So essentially what happened, 5:30 on Thursday night, our region was sucker punched by a phenomena that I'd never heard of. I'm just learning about it, a derecho. So, I've now done a little research. So it's not a term somebody made up. I was mentioning to you and some folks earlier, I can remember when Fort Worth had a tornado come through downtown. But, this was something that was very unfortunate because our community knows the drill when it comes to hurricanes. We know that. We can see them coming. We can prepare or evacuate and then rebuild. But this is a phenomenon that we had never seen before. So nobody was ready for what happened on Thursday.
Well,
Eight people died. Can you imagine 8 people dying? Trees split, homes in half, downtown looks like a war zone in certain areas. So that's the big difference in this from what we have seen in the past.
That's what I wanted to ask you about too. This seemed to be just a routine, random spring storm that was violent. And, Houston is so resilient with all it's gone through, the hurricanes it survived. How in the world did this random spring storm paralyze the city so badly and Harris County so badly?
Well, a derecho is something that we are not accustomed to in this region. We're not accustomed to tornadoes at all in Houston. So imagine almost 1 million buildings losing power. People couldn't prepare because you don't know it's coming. People weren't stocked with water, batteries, other essentials. It was just an incredible strain that it put on us. You're talking about 5:30. In 30 minutes, it wreaked havoc on a major metropolitan area in America. Damage assessments, these are early assessments, $5 to $8 billion. Now compare that with Harvey. If my memory serves me correct, it was about $125 billion statewide. I'm not sure what our figure was in the Harris County region, but there's really no way you could anticipate this coming. But look, in Houston, Harris County, we come together in a crisis. We try to lift everybody up. And since that storm hit, people have rallied for their neighbors. You got a number of isolated challenges. I have a former staffer, well-educated, been through a lot of storms because he worked here, retired. He's disabled. He was sitting in a chair in his home, which is operated with electricity, let himself back in the chair. He did not have his phone. It happened at 5:30. He was stuck in that chair for 3.5 days. Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday, a relative who had been calling him, he hadn't answered the phone, decided to just go to his house and called 911, took him to the hospital. He was dehydrated. He's lucky he's not dead. So I was out with the rockets earlier today, passing out water, passing out tarps where trees fell on houses to try and help people. Eamon Thompson was there, and he asked me, why was it important for him to be there? And I said, it's because if you would take time out of your schedule with the Rockets and their mascot to come out and try and help people, it makes the point we have to look out for one another. But, governments, nonprofits, churches have stepped up to distribute supplies. We're opening cooling centers. I think we're down about 50,000 structures now that don't have power. Trucks are coming in from Dallas, all around the country to try to get the power back on. Here's the takeaway I get from this. Number one, climate change is real. And for people who still want to argue the science, I dare you to find an instance where in 30 minutes, $5 to $7 billion worth of destruction will come through a massive area like Houston in such a short period of time. And number
is that the damage estimate? 5.5 to 7 billion?
$5 to $7 billion. We'll know more a little later, but it's in the neighborhood of $5 to $7 billion. So to happen so quickly, we got to look at, having a stronger standards on building to prepare for events like this that are unanticipated. Obviously, it would help with hurricanes, but we're not accustomed to this.
Sure.
In this region.
Commissioner, I don't need to tell you, but hurricane season starts on Saturday, June the 1st. Is the county, is the city going to be ready?
We will be ready for what we have seen in the past. The challenge is when something comes up that you are not accustomed to. After Harvey, the county did a $2.5 billion bond package. The city is making investments. It takes time to do these. Look, my office has been running 3 resource distribution sites at community centers. All my colleagues are doing it. We've been doing it for 3 days, passing out MREs, water cleaning supplies. What I have been most pleased with has been the quick response from the Biden-Harris administration. The president of the United States called the new mayor of Houston, the vice president. I do happen to know it, but she called me personally herself. Her staff called. And the president's staff called to call out to county commissioners. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Not just the mayor, but they're calling people. And the FEMA folks were here on the ground. I think we're ready. But look, here's the challenge. You're in a region where people are not accustomed to getting generators, even when they can afford them. I've never bought one. I'm ordering one now. Former Mayor Sylvester Turner told me he went ahead and got one after Harvey. I put it off forever. I'm going to get it. Obviously, the price is going up, but you have a lot of people who can't afford it. So we're going to be as prepared as reasonably expected for storm events we've had in the past. We've never had a derecho. So that means a straight line. We've never had an instance like this where 2 tornadoes hit and run in a straight line through certain areas of the city. But we're going to have to make ourselves even more resilient. We've done a lot since Harvey. Remember, it was not a hurricane. It was not a rain event.
Right. This
was 2 tornadoes we know about. And when you can tear down these oak trees in Houston and Harris County, that's pretty amazing. So look, we're going to be ready for what we've seen in the past. What we cannot say we're ready for is what has never happened before. So we got to start preparing for the unexpected, not just the things we expect. It's supposed to be a very active hurricane season. So look, we're going to have some challenges. I'm canceling travel plans, trying to figure out where I can go on vacation and get back quick enough. I happen to have been in New York, planning on flying back on Friday. And I'm at the Legal Defense Fund Gala with 600 people. Ron Kirk, your former mayor, was there. And my staff kept calling. The phone's on vibrate. And then maybe 10 text messages came in at 6:30. So I tipped out of the room to call and see what was going on. They said, we don't know. We just know all of a sudden power is out and people are calling and we don't know what this is, but you should get home. And they booked me on the flight and somebody called back and said, well, the airport's closed. But this was unanticipated. And I think you're going to see with the warming of the planet, more unanticipated instances like this. And that we'll have to do a better job of getting prepared for.
You talk about getting prepared. Is this a personal thing that individuals should be doing, or is there a role for Harris County Commissioners Court, for the state government, for the federal government? All
of the above. When you have a burden like this, it's a time when even if we have political differences, you get over them. It doesn't matter what party you're in. It doesn't matter what color you are, your nationality. But look, that event's happening not just here, but around the world, even in your part of Texas, that we never anticipated. And then you think about how when you have an event like this, some kind of weather event, it will exacerbate those already inequities that exist. So many families were in shambles before this happened. And it's even more of a problem for that. We're learning each time another event comes along, we learn things we had not anticipated. So we just got to get ready, and we share best practices. For folks up in North Texas, we're going to tell you what we went through. You all have had. I happened to Ron Kirk, since I rushed out of the event trying to get my backpack and get to the airport, he's called and said, "Hey, are you okay?" And he mentioned, in Dallas, North Texas, you're accustomed to a tornado every now and then. They're rare, but this has never happened in my judgment. At least my 40 years in public office, I never heard of a tornado like this hitting anywhere in the Harris County region, Houston region.
Let me switch gears real quick on one last question here. I want to ask you about the TEA potentially investigating the complaint about Mike Miles, the superintendent at HISD. Have you heard any update on that? What's going to come of that? What you'd like to see come of that?
I have not gotten an update. When I saw the news account, I was one of the early people to tweet something out, essentially calling for a thorough investigation. Yeah. You might remember from my days in the state Senate, I chaired the Board of Innocence Project. I always believe people are innocent until proven guilty, but there are very serious allegations there. In addition to having to investigate that, I think the governor ought to take a close look at some of the things that Miles is doing here in Harris County, in Houston. Look at what happened with that former charter school system that he was involved in, and that's very serious if money was leaving Texas going to another state. But also look at a lot of his practices here, committing to give people a raise or bonus and then pulling that back, sending kids to schools when the heat index was plus 100 degrees and the air did not work. I assume it's because you want to get as much money as you can. And, school and enrollment matters in terms of how much funding you get. So I think that the governor would be wise to reconsider that decision to have the state put him in charge of the school system and look at how difficult it is when you take over a school system. Miles had problems when he was in the Dallas area, by the way, and you're seeing a lot of that come out. And some of that background, his way of doing business where you just don't reach out. It's kind of my way or the highway. I don't think that goes over well in any urban setting. Maybe it would work in some small town, but not in the urban setting. So we're very much in turmoil in terms of our school system here in Houston.
One other storm-related question here. Any idea how long it's going to take Houston to recover from this spring storm, considering that we're going right into hurricane season here?
Yeah. Hey, it's a big drain on resources, and we're doing as much as we can, working with our various partners. But I'm hoping and praying we don't get a hurricane too quick. It's going to take a little while to get the debris up, and that's a challenge. It's taken a bit longer than even CenterPoint anticipated to get all of the power back on. They're doing it as quickly as they can, and we are lucky there's not another major storm event in the country right now. No city or county or state has all of the resources you need when something happens like this. Mm-hmm. And that means that you draw resources from other parts of the country. Nothing would be worse than to have a major storm event in any other major city in the state or in the country right now. But, we're going to do as much as we can. We're going to learn from it. It tells people, don't just wait for hurricane season. My friend that I made reference to, you need to have your batteries. You need to have water in your home. Don't wait until somebody says it's hurricane season. So this weather event happened before hurricane season. And so get prepared. Do as much, just the common, simple things. And it's everybody's responsibility. It's the city, it's the county, it's the state, it's the federal government. And to as extent as possible, it is the responsibility of each individual. And it's responsibility of neighbors, because neighbors tend to see things in their neighborhood the government cannot see.
Yeah. Commissioner, we'll be thinking about you guys, so hang in there, and best of luck to you. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.